Sorry if this is a different video than what you're used to from me, I just needed to get all this off my chest. Undertale and Deltarune are two games that have had a massive impact on my life. When I got into Undertale in 2018, I was 10 years old. It was at the tail end of my formative years, but it still managed to utterly grasp me. Granted, I got into it in probably the worst way I could ever have done so, through content on YouTube spoiling me on everything. Underlab was a big one, followed by my fixation on Glitchtail. It's a bit of a guilty pleasure of mine. Glitchtail was what got me fixated on the symbols of Undertale's world, which I have gone on to hold dear in my daily life. The heart symbolizing a soul, yellow flowers, the four-pointed star, and, of course, the locket. I got into Glitchtail after the release of Season 2, Episode 5, My Promise. I was completely emotionally invested, and when the next episode released in August, Game Over Part 1, I was shocked to see the locket become a crucial plot point, bringing Asriel back from the brink. It symbolized unity, it symbolized friendship, brotherhood. This year, for my birthday, a friend sent me money all the way from Kuwait to purchase a locket of my own, wrapped in its own symbols 3 layers deep from a game I hold even closer to my heart. But the deepest, most cutting symbol was that it was a locket. It was something to link me to my friends. When I exercise, which is incredibly hard for me for my own reasons, I've been spurred on solely through each beat of it against my chest. It acting as a conduit, everyone I love's hearts beating as one, beating against me through cold metal with one goal, to make me better. And so I go on. October 31st, 2018. That's the day that Toby shadow dropped Deltarune, as survey program. It was probably the first game I ever played completely blind, without any YouTube interference, barring the stuff in my early childhood that I didn't have YouTube for. I had seen Toby's Gaster-laden Twitter posts beforehand on YouTube, of course, but I saw and clicked the link myself. I probably shouldn't have, but I was a snot-nosed little 11-year-old idiot. What did you expect from me? Anyway, I was awestruck. I was given a whole other world, a whole other lens to view Undertale's symbols through. The Deltarune wasn't a symbol of the underground going empty anymore. It was something greater, a legend of hopes and dreams, a legend of light and dark. I was given new characters to fall in love with. Susie, Lancer, Ralsei, I need him, Rule's card. I had never had a windfall like this come my way mid-obsession, and it dug deeper into my skull, into the very core of my being, that Toby Fox charm. Motifs from the game's OSTs made their way into my head, playing throughout my daily life. When something was out of place, something I couldn't quite explain, I'd hear a subtle Gaster motif in my head. When something was nice and cozy, something warm and friendly, Snowden Town's theme would enter my mind. I could go on, but you get the picture. Undertale and Deltarune had begun to shape the way I viewed the world, and that wouldn't stop in 2018. In 2019, I took on the name The Tall Pancake, and I used assets from Undertale to make my first logo from what I never dreamed would be any significant YouTube channel. I do have content from back then, but the day I show it here is the day hell freezes over, and goddammit, I already own Lucifer's soul, so I'm going to make sure that's never gonna happen. I iterated on that logo, tried to put myself out there a bit, and thank the dog it never took off back then, because yikes. After 2020, I began to mature more as a person, and discover who I actually was. Undertale and Deltarune played a comparatively minor role in that. I give more credit to Celeste, but that doesn't change the fact that I carried those memories in my soul, and they started to tint it green. Out of the 7 traits, patience, bravery, integrity, perseverance, kindness, justice, and determination, kindness was always the one that was the most potent in me. Patience and perseverance were things I interchangeably and sorely lacked in most of my life, and I still lack the latter today. Bravery was something I strived to possess, but ultimately failed at. Integrity was and is something I do have, but not nearly enough to define me. Justice is something I like to think I have a good grasp on, but I also can't grasp the prospect of someone rotting in prison for decades on end, no matter the crime, so if that makes me too soft, my soul sure isn't yellow. That leaves kindness and determination. And determination was, again, something I lacked. My ADHD can hardly let me make a 20-minute video essay, let alone stick to one thing through it all. No, I was and am, above all, kind. Another piece of media I hold near and dear to my heart says it best.
I'm not doing this because I want to beat someone, because I hate someone, or because I want to blame someone. It's not because it's fun. God knows it's not because it's easy. It's not even because it works, because it hardly ever does. I do what I do because it's right. Because it's decent. And above all, it's kind. It's just that. Just kind.
Getting back on topic, Deltarune Chapter 2's release caught me at another crucial point in my life. My first real friend group had really come together in more or less its final form very recently, and it gave us something to bond over. I had just started my first D&D campaign as a DM, and one character got her token on my digital maps from a Spamton meme, and it drove her player up the wall so much that he made her a new token himself. We all enjoyed Deltarune, though. For me, it was another big step. I had just created my first real persona or avatar, something to really represent myself as. I had found my foot in the door for my identity, and I stuck with that same design for the next 4 years, until just a few days ago, in fact, where I iterated it into a whole new thing. Deltarune Chapter 2 helped me see that I had begun to grow apart from it. I still related to Deltarune immensely, and it still hit my soul the same as before, but I knew this wouldn't imprint on me like the last one did. This one was truly the new beginning. From here on, I was me. Snowgrave still had another valuable lesson to teach me, though, and that was that I could manipulate people easily. At first, that scared me, that people were soft, they were easily molded, twisted, and warped. In time, though, I came to see it in a different light. Manipulating people didn't have to be negative, it could be a way to help. If someone was in a mental rut, it would be manipulation to drag them up by the scruff of their neck, dust them off, and tell them what they really mean to people. Manipulation is a broad term, after all. If they wouldn't get up out of that hole on their own, it's manipulation. I've embraced that. The years ticked by, and the past 4 have been the most eventful of my life. I've loved, I've lost, I've gone through all of high school, become an adult, laughed, cried, I've been betrayed and betrayed others. I've had experiences I'll cherish for the rest of my days and experiences I'd rather forget. And all the while, Deltarune has been stagnant. The looming promise of future chapters just tantalizingly hanging overhead. Deltarune tomorrow, they said. Deltarune tomorrow. And all the while, I've been excited for what comes next, but now that it's nearly here, I'm scared. I'm at another turning point in my life. I just got my first car, I'm about to get my first job, and I've cherished every drop of this game for as long as I've been someone I can call me. So what happens when that me shifts, and Deltarune just keeps trucking on? I'm scared that if Chapter 2 was already at a point where I could separate myself from it, what if these next 2 aren't me at all anymore? Am I still worthy? Deltarune tomorrow, yes, but what will Deltarune mean tomorrow? Toby Fox didn't include one song in Undertale, and it's left over in the files as muse_star. Star wasn't my first word, but it was the first word I could call my own. Assorted mamas and dadas preceded it, but star was the first word I ever got fixated on. I didn't comprehend it at the time, but it's to this day the word that I want to be associated with the most. I want to burn bright, give guidance to those who need it, be warmth to those in the cold. I've burned pretty bright so far, but I hope what comes next will help me burn ever brighter. Toby Fox, I pray that what you have in store will be any fraction as beautiful as what you've given me so far. I pray that it will connect with me anything like it did all those years ago. If it isn't, if it won't, then I thank you for all you've done for me. And if it will, well, I sure am grateful for Deltarune tomorrow.